The first thing which I would like you to learn in mind is that life is really long. Life is really, really long. At the time of independence, the average life expectancy of Indians was a shade over 50 years. That's it. Average Indians, on average, will not be seeing their 50th birthday. Today, we are looking at a life expectancy of 85 years. And by the time you start having children, the life expectancy in India will almost touch 90 years. Most people will retire at the age of 60, but they will die only at the age of 90. 30 years of their life, they have to still, for some means or the other, have to fend for themselves. So first of all, what you need to bear in mind is that you are not preparing yourself for a job. You're preparing yourself for a career and a life. My dad retired from the same job which he got immediately after his graduation, and he worked for a whooping 42 years in one company. He was a Government of India employee. He worked for 42 years. I could barely manage 6 years in an organization, and I decided to myself that I can't pull this anymore. And most of you would be not managing to stay in your first job for more than 6 months. And the reason you will not survive in your first job for more than 6 months is not because you are tardy, but you get disillusioned. Your understanding of what a job means to you and what a job offers to you may not be at all correlated. And that's when the real awakening comes. The faculties, the principal, the administrator in this school and this college wants to teach you in 4 years that will help you for the next 40 years. It's an ominous task. Sitting in December of 2019, nobody thought that in March of 2020, we will have a global lockdown, isn't it? That's how pathetic our ability to foresee is. How on earth can anybody claim that they'll prepare you for the next 40 years? It's so presumptuous of us, isn't it? Which means we don't prepare you for the next 40 years. You prepare you for the next 40 years. Now, there are two ways of experiencing the future. The first is to predict the future, and the second is to prepare for the future. Because we all understand that our abilities to predict the future is so bad, the only thing we can do is to prepare ourselves for the future. Now, how do you prepare yourself for the future? The first and the foremost thing that you need to learn to prepare yourself for the future is to be, just imagine a pyramid, okay? At the bottom of the pyramid is the importance of being physically fit. Never in my life I have seen a single leader who is low on energy. I've never seen a leader. Whether it's a political leader or a corporate leader or a religious leader or a leader of a gang, the leader has to be very, very physically fit. The word which I despise the most in my career is called as human resource. Well, human is not a resource. Human is an asset. The word human resource has been lazily adopted from the machineries where you put coal from one end and finished goods come from the other end. We are not like that. If you think you are a resource, you are a resource. If you think you are an asset, you are an asset. So the first layer of the pyramid, at the bottom of the pyramid, is the importance of being physically fit. There is no excuse if you are not physically fit. Many people tell me that, Pavan, I want to retire by the age of 40. Well, I haven't come across anybody retiring by the age of 40. And even if you retire by the age of 40, you still have another 40 years to live. Now, how many beaches can you go to? How many vacations can you take? And how many money can you throw in shopping things which you don't need with the money which you don't have to impress the people who don't care? You have to work. You don't work for making money. You work for keeping yourself meaningfully occupied. So I have not seen people retiring at the age of 40, but I have seen people dying at the age of 40. All of us read in the newspaper somebody collapsing while on the treadmill, somebody drowning in the swimming pool, somebody having a bypass at the age of 41, and almost everybody popping a pill at the age of 42. What's the point of that life? What's the point of a life where you have money with you, but you don't have health? As Dalai Lama very famously said, that humans are a very funny creature. We spend most of our health making money, and then we spend up our money to get back our health. So from today onwards, be careful about your health. The only thing which you have to carry to your funeral is your body, nothing else. You don't carry relationships, you don't carry money, you don't carry rank, file, title, misgivings, forgivings, nothing you carry to your funeral. The only thing you carry to your funeral is your body. Respect your body will respect you. Don't abuse your body by not taking care of it by doing exercises. Don't abuse your body by cutting down your hours of sleep. In fact, it is scientifically proven that between lack of food, lack of water and lack of sleep, what kills you first is lack of sleep, which is very surprising. You can survive for a longer amount of time without food and water than sleep. Let me explain how. For example, if I don't give you water and if I don't give you food, what will you try to do? You will try to rest. But if I don't allow you to rest also, and I keep you alert for some reason by playing loud music or by pestering you with needles, You will get into brain hemorrhage. And there was an experiment conducted during the Second World War with the prisoners of war, that people were not allowed to sleep. I give you food, I give you water, but I don't let you sleep. You die. At this age, it is very easy to cut down on your sleep because your body can take your abuse. But what I want you to keep in mind is the body keeps the score. You may forget, your body never forgets. So as you approach your 30s and 40s and you become more responsible to your aging parents and to your younger children, that is the day when your body will start revolting. So take care of your body starting today. 8 hours of sleep, yoga, exercise, and just about 6 or 7 hours of studies. Believe me if you can study properly during your schooling, college days, and maybe 1 or 2 hours beyond that, that is sufficient for a day. You don't have to study more than that, provided you study with the highest level of concentration. Not by playing music, not by working in groups, certainly not by having a mobile phone by your side. At 95, Warren Buffett, one of the most legendary investors ever to have been, reads 500 pages a day. At the age of 95. He reads 500 pages a day, not to make another cent, but to be on the top of the game. Imagine what will you be doing at the age of 95. Buzz Aldrin, the second man to set foot on moon after Neil Armstrong, he is still making plans on how to have a space civilization on Mars at the age of 95. There are more than few thousands of people in Japan who are above the age of 100 and they go to office. What will you do when you are 100? If at all it happens. So if you don't take care of your body right now, you will never see that day, come what may. That's the first thing. That is called as being physically fit. If you're not physically fit, nothing in the life matters, believe me. I know so many people who have all the money in the world, they want to travel, but they have ache in the knees. Have you all not seen those people? They just can't travel without wheelchairs. What's the point of that money? What's the point of love around you when you can't reciprocate with love? So from today onwards, I can't hear any excuse that you cannot take care of your health. Forget about taking care of your mother, your father, your friends, your boyfriends, girlfriends, teachers, country, nothing matters. Your first and foremost duty is to yourself, not to your parent. Don't even worry that you have come to make your parents feel proud of you. Don't worry for that. Your parents will love you unconditionally, and that's something you will realize when you become a parent. You have no obligation to prove anything to your parent. Don't worry about that. Just prove it to yourself. As Richard Feynman, the Nobel laureate in physics, very famously said, that don't feel obliged to what the world expects from you. Feel obliged to what you expect from yourself. So what's the bottom layer? Come again. Being physically fit. You need to be physically fit. There's no excuse to that. Once you're physically fit, the second most important layer is being mentally tough. What is mental toughness and why is it important? See, you are living in a world which is highly polarized. You write anything on social media, people will always have two meanings out of it. Yes or no? Anything you do. Suppose I go to the street and I start cleaning the street and I put a video of that on YouTube. Do you think people will praise it universally? No. Somebody might start abusing it. That why are you showing off, man? If you're so cleanliness friendly, why do you have to show it? End of the story. I've never ever seen in my entire life a single video on YouTube which has 0 dislikes. Have you seen? Have you seen a single video on YouTube which has 0 dislikes? It doesn't happen. Does it mean that the people should not put YouTube videos? Of course they have. If you are worried about being criticized, let me tell you one thing. You will never do anything interesting in your life. Stop being worried about people's criticism. The more you get criticized, the bigger is a hint for you that you are doing something interesting. The reason I'm telling you all of this is because this is the generation which is sitting in front of me that thinks of its self-worth basis the worth on social media. More than the food you intake, you need to have the intake of those thumbs ups, those smileys, those shares, those Instagram followers. And the moment those Instagram followers, the shares, the worth and your social media popularity starts shaking, your appetite is lost. You start feeling self-doubtful. Don't allow that to happen. The reason you need to be mentally tough is because if you have to be creative in your life, you have to change the status quo. As George Bernard Shaw very famously said, there are two types of people in the world, the reasonable and the unreasonable. The reasonable people tries to change themselves, according to the world. If the world is like this, I should be like this. And the unreasonable people try to change the world according to them. I'm like that only, the world has to change. Of course, the second part, which is the unreasonable people, struggle, but they are the reason why there is change in the world. If you want to bring any change in the world, you need to be stubborn, you need to be unreasonable, and you need to take insults. If I tell you on your face right now that you are a piece of crap, and you still look into my eyes, then it means you have learned to take insult in life. Only thing you have to ask me is that, why do you say so? Tell me. So one of the things I maintain in my life is that never take your praise seriously, never take your criticism seriously. Just take your work seriously. Now you can ask me that if you don't take criticism seriously, how will you improve? Am I right? If you don't take criticism seriously, how will you improve? Well, what you need to take seriously is not criticism, but feedback. So if I tell you that I don't like you, that is criticism. But if I tell you I don't like you because of 1, 2, 3, that is feedback. So when people do criticize you on social media, in your classroom, behind your back, in front of you, on the stage, off the stage, forget about it. Is your ego and your self-esteem so fragile that 10 times in a day you need means to boost it? People should salute you, people should bow down to you, people should say, yeah, that's this great point. Why? Why is it required? Go about your day. If you have iota of self-worth, if you have iota of self-esteem, you don't need any external validation of who you are. If you go to Shankaracharya, the great saint, and if you learn the philosophy of Advait Vedanta, Advait means non-dualism, Advait, non-dualistic, which means you are one. And who are you? You are anyways Brahman. So if you are Brahma, what else do you need? What else do you need? If you are God, and if there is no God and you as separate entities, if you are God, for God's sake, what do you need? Why do you need totally and completely and compulsively all the time perpetually stoking of your ego on social media, in your friend circle? Why is that required? It's okay. Well, you never came to make friends here. All friendship in this campus is friendship of convenience. It doesn't matter whether you're popular or not. What matters is, are you improved or not? Today you come as a raw clay, and as you walk out of this campus, you need to be a molded vase, not a fragile vase. A vase which is beautiful, a vase which is strong, and a vase which is unique. By trying to emulate people around you, you are just trying to be one of them, and as a result, you get lost in the crowd. You come here as a crowd, but you leave this campus as individuals. You come here during a week, but you never leave this place during a week. You leave in phases, as in when your placements gets done. Am I right? You never leave in a single day. And that is what I mean to say as being mentally tough. You need to be mentally tough, because life will abuse you. Life will throw challenges at you. Whenever you come up with an idea in a class, when you have a question in the class and you raise your hand, people around you will look at you. What's wrong with this guy? Why can't I just shut up and sit quietly? What's wrong with him? Why is he trying to do an extra class? Why is he trying to show off, man? That is your day of test. If you buckle down to ensure that you blend into the class and you reduce your level of intelligence to your class's average level of mediocrity, that day you have stopped learning. Everybody was a stranger till last week, and everybody will be a stranger a week after your placement is done. Believe me, everybody will be a stranger. You will be lucky to carry 2 good relationships from this class. 2 good relationships. When I was in my engineering college, I carried my future wife. So that was my only take. The lady I met on the first day of engineering happens to be my wife today. And I thought that is the upside of my engineering. But barring that relationship, almost everything has faded away. Don't get excited, guys. It was not planned. It happened. What I'm trying to offer to you is that don't feel obliged to belong. The conflict of your generation is this. The signature conflict of your generation is how much to stand out and how much to blend in. If you stand out too much, you're lost. If you blend in too much, you're lost. The critical thing is to preserve your individuality without being abrasive to others. You should not hurt others deliberately, but at the same time, you should not feel hurt by others deliberately. When people talk about you on the corridor, don't take their words seriously. Because frankly speaking, everybody in the world is operating from their level of IQ. If somebody is criticizing you, I'm 100% sure that after my lecture, half of the audience would be criticizing me. I do not know which half, but it's always half. But should that bother me? I don't think so it should bother me. Because I'm not here to befriend you. I'm here to nudge you. I'm here to disturb you intellectually and emotionally and share a piece of my own life with you that can possibly help you come on this stage in the near future and pass the baton. When the deal is not to make friends, why do you bother about anything else? Same applies to all of you. If you can carry 2 or 3 good relationships without carrying 2 and 3 animosities, I think it's a great engineering college education. 4 years is the most precious time of your life. What you do over the next 4 years is going to set your life forever. Forever, I'm telling you. The path fork out now. Mental toughness comes only when you're physically fit. Isn't that true? If you're not physically fit, you can never be mentally tough because you'll always be self-doubting yourself. Being mentally tough is to ensure that you don't get impacted by people's opinions about you. Otherwise, all people have to do is to whisper about you or about something randomly in somebody's ears and your day is spoiled. All they have to do is to move away from you in a classroom and you start self-doubting yourself that maybe something is wrong with me only. Maybe I'm not spelling right. Or maybe I'm not saying something correct. And as a result, you will end up with a person with low self-esteem. The next 4 years are going to be the years not for building your mind, but building your character. I would like you to not worry too much about being a topper of your class. Don't worry. Don't try to be the topper of your class. Don't try to be the most likable person in the class. The only thing that matters to you, and it should matter to you, is that when you get out of this place, are you better than the day you entered this place? That's it. Believe me, the only race which you have is with yourself. Again, when I go back to my engineering days, I have no idea as to what my batchmates are doing from my engineering college days. I have no idea about that. But the funny thing is, everybody is happy. Everybody is happy in their own ways. But would I like to swap my position with somebody else? The answer is no. I can never be comfortable by replacing myself in somebody else's shoe. The only thing I'm very, very happy about is that I'm far better off than that 17-year-old guy who was so scared leaving his home that he'll just go to the PCO booth and call his mom every alternate day. I was a person who would be crying at the end of every day that why am I here? Every few months and every few weeks I leave my college and run to my home. That was the man I was. And 4 years into the making, I became a person who was, if nothing else, self-confident. So if you leave this college with a high level of self-confidence, you are an engineer. Because what is engineering? The dictionary meaning of the word engineering is to create. The word engineer doesn't come from the word engine. The word engine comes from the word engineer. To engineer is to create. And what you engineer the most is your life. Forget about writing a code. Forget about making a machine or making a clever contraption. What you are supposed to do is to engineer your own life. That can only happen when you are physically fit. Because the worst emotion in the world, guys and girls, you know what's the worst emotion in the world? The worst emotion in the world is called as self-pity. Self-pity. Self-pity means, why me? Why does it happen to me? Why am I singled out? Do you think God has a plan to single you out? Like there's a God sitting somewhere and he's saying out of 9 billion people, trouble her. This morning, trouble her, single her out. It doesn't happen. You are a happy accident. Between happy and accident, happy is your choice. But at any rate, you are an accident. Don't feel bad for yourself. You should feel good for yourself that you are at least alive. In the third wave of pandemic, when people were not even given a proper funeral and their bodies were tossed into a 6 feet by 6 feet pit, if you're sitting in this room, you are lucky. Because in the 6 feet by 6 feet, it might as well have been you. Why you? All of us are given a second lease of life, guys and girls. The funny thing is, we have forgotten that we have been gifted a life again. There is no trace of COVID, whether in our behavior, our traffic, our life, our hygiene standards. Once in a while you see a square block in the middle of a bank which says stand here. That's the only trace of COVID. We are as bad in our hygiene habits as we were before 2020. We are as close physically and as distant emotionally as we were in 2019. Our traffic is not breathing at all. So you're not physically fit and mentally tough. The world will eat you alive. And I want you not to take any notes, because I'm not taking any notes. By taking notes in physical notebooks, you are not forcing yourself to remember it. Because my friends, the real knowledge is not in notebooks. The real knowledge is not in books, not in slips of paper. The real knowledge is in your veins. You don't have knowledge. You are knowledge. Because when the real day comes, when there is a lion in front of you, you don't go to ChatGPT and quiz 10 ways of taming a lion. By then you are finished. Your lion's breakfast. When there is a lion, it is lion and you. When there is a problem in life, no notebook comes handy, no teacher comes handy, no college comes handy. It's you and the problem. So whatever I'm teaching you today, if it is not in your blood, it doesn't matter. And if it is in your blood, it doesn't matter. So being physically fit, being mentally tough. And if you are that, so the top of the pyramid is called as being intellectually honest. Now what I mean by being intellectually honest is that it is a very, very good practice and a very advocated practice to be diplomatic with people around you. I am being diplomatic with you right now. Do you think I speak like this with my parents? They'll slap me. They'll slap me because they were the one who changed my diapers. I can't. I'm playing a role here. You should be diplomatic with people around you. You should be. You should always treat people basis their emotional and intellectual level. If I am standing in front of people who are barely in their teens, later teens, I need to have a certain style of talking. My content has to be a certain style. When I'm talking in a corporate, I need to be a very different person. What I mean by being intellectually honest is that you should know what you do not know. You should know what you do not know. You should know that. As I was sitting in the conference room just before coming here, I had all the time in the world to read one page of the book I was carrying with myself. And the reason I was reading that one page of the book is because I wanted to learn. Because I did not know terribly about the topic which I was reading about. And that topic was nothing to do with engineering, nothing to do with management. It was a completely tangential topic called neuroscience, how brain works. And I thought I need to know because I did not know it. If you are intellectually honest, then you are always a learning person. Believe me, life will always give you a choice between focusing on content versus focusing on contacts. Whatever you know and wherever you are, people will find you if you have content. Because guys and girls, content is the king. 3 examples. The first example is our External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar. Jaishankar became an External Affairs Minister without fighting elections. He did not become a portfolio being democratically elected. He was a rank civil services officer, buried deep under the layers of administration, but because he had the content, he was plucked and made as one of the most important people to represent India, because he has the content. Mr. Shashi Tharoor, who is from the opposition party, as I am talking to you right now, but because the ruling dispensation thought that the best person to represent the cause of India after Operation Sindhur, to be able to tell it to the Americans in their own language, in their own tone, happens to be Shashi Tharoor. It doesn't matter what's the partition line saying. If he is the man for the job, he should do the job. That's content of Shashi Tharoor. He is a charmer. The third person when it comes to content are the chess fraternity. You'll be shocked to know that after Russia, the highest number of chess grandmasters to have come from any country in the world happens to be Ukraine. Not India, guys. Ukraine. And as we know right now, Ukraine is at war. But because there is a chess player deeply embedded in Ukraine, he can play chess. It doesn't matter where you are. The best programmers in the world are in Siberia, sitting at minus 40 degrees centigrade. So don't worry how many handshakes you do. Don't worry how many people you know. What matters is what you know. There will be a day that if you have the content, people will sniff you out. I don't have any doubt in my mind about that. You will be like the flower whose smell will be so irresistible that somebody will come to that flower. So don't even worry about how many people you know when you leave this college. It doesn't matter. And I'll give you a simple example of Kalpana Chawla. Have you heard this name before, Kalpana Chawla? When Kalpana Chawla was growing up in Haryana, if you have seen the movie Dangal, Haryana is not the place for women to aspire, unfortunately. The hinterland of Haryana is dominated by male. The Panch, the Panchayat and the entire administration that they have. And here was Kalpana Chawla dreaming not just to be on top of the world, but literally going to space. Can you imagine the amount of social pressure Kalpana Chawla and her parents would be under? What are you doing with your daughter? Shouldn't she be sitting at home and milking cows? Shouldn't she be sitting at home and taking care of children? What is this NASA all about? What are you thinking, sending him to NASA? Who will take care of her? So when she was growing up, everybody in her society, everybody in her village, state, community, larger family was criticizing her. What is she? But when she went to space, everybody said that, yeah, she's from my village. I knew her as a child. Yeah, we just went to the same school. She's from my country. You see? So when you are successful, people will find a reason to associate with you. Some reason, some random reason they'll find. But when you are a failure or when you're struggling, they'll find all the reason to distance themselves from you. So don't even worry about people's opinion. Worry about being excellent. If you are excellent, the world will bow down at you. So, if you have the content, the world will remember you years and years after your death. So the parting thought for all of you is this and this only, guys. Who will remember you the next day morning after your death? Now, induction program is not the best time to talk about death, isn't it? We should talk about birth. But isn't every birth has a death hidden in it? It has. If somebody is born, he or she will die. But it's a very good idea. You need to always keep in mind your eulogy. What will be written on your tombstone? It's a very, very good reference point. From now onwards, I would just like you to focus on these three things, guys. That's all. Being physically fit, being mentally tough, and being intellectually honest. Be intellectually honest. Cheat the world, because your karma will take care of it. Cheat the world by all means. Cheat the world. Cheat your parents, cheat your friends, cheat the country, cheat the person sitting next to you, and by all means, cheat me. Don't cheat yourself. Be honest to yourself. If you do not know something, learn it. If you're bad at something, suck it up and make yourself good at it. Okay, guys? So I hope you'll remember these three simple lessons. And if our path crosses any day, which will, because life is long and the world is small, I would like to see you being talked about in a college. Thank you so much.